So my dad was he was a model maker for Kenner Toys here in Cincinnati. So I mean, as a kid, I mean, there's nothing cooler than your dad working at a toy company.
Yeah.
And so the only drawback of that was that a lot of the popular toys that weren't made by Kenner, like I never had
Right.
because I only had Kenner stuff, you know. So like my friends that had GI Joes and Transformers and He-Man, like I very rarely, if ever, got those toys because they weren't Kenner toys, you know. But I had Star Wars and Mask. The TV show Mask came
Yeah.
up, and it was like Kenner's answer to It was like a GI Joe Transformers hybrid show,
Yeah.
you know, like where the vehicles turned into other things, but they weren't robots. They just turned into, like, you know, like a Jeep turned into like a Jeep that had guns that came out of the front bumper, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah, you should look it up. There's actually talk like a year ago that they were going to do a Mask movie. It was such a cool show and a
Yeah.
really cool toy as a
Yeah, man.
kid
I
to
mean,
play with.
one thing I was just in a you were probably there. I was just in a clubhouse room this morning, and I was talking about about 90s cartoons, and somebody said this so perfectly where it's like the 80s and the 90s had such original ideas because that's all we had. When you describe a synopsis to like any 90s or 80s cartoon, it sounds like you're describing a dream. And then most people are like, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, like, like
Yeah,
a car that would turn into a person and then he, kill, was a ninja. Yeah, I remember that.
yeah,
Like, and that's like the only time where it was literally everything was original. Now it's just like, oh, well, it's because it's a popular book series or it was popular 30 years ago or whatever the case. Now there's barely any original ideas.
yeah. You're right about that, though. Like I think back to my fondest shows that I watched, and they were all based off of like fantasy. You know, there was nothing. It seems like a lot of the cartoons now, you know, I get a little bit of it because I watch it with, you know, my kids,
Yeah.
but like what they're into, it's very simplistic. You know, it's all like really nice spirited, you know, and that's
Mhm.
good. That's what you want. Like I
Of
don't think we
course.
realized when we were kids, you know, that maybe subconsciously we were learning about, you know, violence and the,
Yeah.
you know, the struggles of good versus evil. You know, like my daughter watches a show that's like a rainbow tree that sings songs